This is the 18th story, the Dragons of Kita Inn. There is an old Buddhist temple called Kita Inn on the outskirts of the historic city of Kawagoe, not far north of Tokyo. It happened a very long time ago that there was a temple. One night, while the abbot of the temple was leisurely passing his time in his study, a damsel happened to call on him. Damsel is a young girl. "My dear abbot, please do me a favor. I fervently implore you," she entreated demurely. Fervently is honestly, very honestly, to ask of you. Implore is ask of you. She entreated, asked. When the abbot heard her, he felt slightly surprised, as it was already late. He looked up to see who could be speaking of him so sweetly. There before him was a beautiful young lady whom he had not seen in the neighborhood. While he watched her, he began to wonder whether she was a phantom or not, whether she was a ghost. At length, he composed himself and said in a kindly tone, as he was always good to the people, "My dear lady, what made you come to me so late at night, and what do you want of me?" As if the damsel had been waiting for the abbot to speak, she immediately replied, "Oh, my merciful abbot, I have come to you tonight to ask you a special favor. I would like you to stop tolling your huge bell for 100 days, starting from tonight. I beseech you. Please, my most benevolent abbot." I beseech you is to earnestly ask. My most benevolent means my most kindly abbot is the chief priest of the temple. The damsel made her request so graciously that the abbot was overpowered by her manners. Who can this charming high-born damsel be? The old abbot wondered, watching her closely. "Stop tolling the temple bell, eh?" he said pensively. Pensively, that's thinking carefully. "If you will stop the bell for that length of time, I will promise to make the pealing of the bell more sonorous, more deep, and to sound better. And it will resound farther into the neighboring districts than it does now." The young lady said to the abbot and bowed down on the mat several times. The aged abbot was perplexed. He had never had such an experience before and couldn't decide what to do. As he kept looking at the beautiful damsel, he began to feel pity for her. Her earnestness was real, and the abbot felt that if he refused her, some unknown misfortune might come upon him. Before the abbot knew what he was doing, he found himself nodding, very much to his surprise. Good. I will promise to stop tolling the temple bell for 100 days. "Thank you very much," the damsel said sweetly, and bowed deep before the abbot and with folded hands, as she would do to a great Buddha. "Strange, very strange to lure me into this trance. She must surely be a messenger from some deity. I must see where she retires," the abbot thought, and decided to follow her. When the damsel left the abbot's study, he followed her until she went out of the front gate into the darkness beyond. After that, he watched her vague figure for some distance until she came to a large pond situated not far south of the temple, where she melted into the darkness. "How mysterious! Well, there's nothing more I can do," he muttered to himself and returned to the temple. As soon as he was back in the temple, he gave orders to stop tolling the huge bell for 100 days. He was afraid something might happen if he did not honor the promise made to the damsel. For the first 10 days he was nervous. 20 days passed and nothing happened. 50 days passed and still no incident. The following days were as peaceful as the normal times. After 90 days had passed, the abbot's anxiety began to ease. Anxiety means he's a little bit worried. Why was I so worried for the damsel? Perhaps I was just eager to have our bell resound more pleasantly for our parishioners, he said to comfort himself. The 99th day finally came, and the abbot was ready to heave a big sigh of relief. While the abbot was resting in his study after supper, a young lady quite suddenly appeared before him. He was taken aback again, and she was not the damsel who had visited him 100 days ago, but she was just as beautiful. "Oh, my most merciful abbot, I have come to ask you one favor. Please let me hear the temple bell just once this night. I implore you with all my heart," the young lady said in the sweetest manner. Her voice strangely pierced into his heart. After seeing how earnestly this young lady was, and after considering considerable pondering, means a long time thinking, the kind-hearted abbot finally acquiesced to her wish. Acquiesce means he gave up, he's going to do what she asked. Reflecting that nothing had happened so far for 99 days, and his promise to the other damsel was nearly fulfilled anyways, he ordered the priestling, that's the young priest, to peal the temple bell. Gong! The gong then resounded throughout the district. Before it faded into the deep darkness beyond, the weather suddenly changed, and in another moment, a terrific rainstorm ensued. What was more wondrous, the young lady herself was transformed into a dragon and flew away into the sky, to the utter amazement of the abbot. It was later learned that the first damsel was the spirit of a dragon living in the pond south of the temple, which abhorred the pealings of the huge temple bell. And the second young lady was the spirit of another dragon living in the nearby mountains, which was fond of the temple bell. Even today, the abbot of the Kita Inn Temple is very strict with the handling of the temple bell, due largely to the mysterious incident that happened a long, long time ago. Interesting story.